Hello and welcome to Wisconsin in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I'm JD Davidson, the Center Square Regional Editor. Joining me today is Ben Yount, Wisconsin contributor for the Center Square. Ben, how are things today?
Well, waking up to a beautiful morning in the Wisconsin Dells, the Midwest's water park home. Unfortunately, or perhaps I should say fortunately for everyone else, I forgot my bathing suit at home, so there will be no swim-up bar for Benny here today.
At least in the Midwest, the weather is maybe not pool-like, but not so bad for early February.
Look, you can go to the indoor water park and then walk to your car without your hair freezing. That's a win here in the Midwest in the first full week of February.
Absolutely. We're recording this on Thursday, February 8th, 2024. Ben, with the border crisis growing daily, Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives seem to be struggling to come together on much of anything, including what could have been a historic impeachment of the head of Homeland Security. Alejandro Mayorkas survived impeachment by a very, very thin margin, and one of the votes that allowed him to do that came from a Wisconsin Republican. Tell us why Mike Gallagher voted no.
Yeah, Mike Gallagher is on the receiving end of an awful lot of hate, anger, frustration, criticism from Republicans, from conservatives here in Wisconsin, because he said that impeachment shouldn't become the norm. And he's been defending himself for the past couple of days. He wrote an op-ed over at the Wall Street Journal where he said, yes, there is a huge crisis at the southern border. Yes, President Biden has failed to secure this country. Yes, we've had millions of people come into this country over the past several years. We don't know who they are. Some may be legitimate asylum seekers, but some of these people are coming from places like Uzbekistan, and we don't know what their intentions are. But he said, Homeland Security, let me read the quote here. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is faithfully implementing the president's ruinous policies, which are continuing to immerse human traffic suffering and placing massive financial burdens on the state. His performance has been a disgrace. But he went on to say that impeaching Mayorkas isn't going to change that. Getting rid of Alejandro Mayorkas is not going to suddenly make President Joe Biden say, oh, now I get it. You guys want the southern border completely closed. And Gallagher added this, which is getting some pretty high profile praise here. He said, creating a new lower standard for impeachment, one without any clear limiting principle, wouldn't secure the border or hold President Biden accountable. It would only further pry open the Pandora's box of perpetual impeachment. And many of the same people who in Wisconsin over the past few days have been banging the table that Mike Gallagher didn't impeach Alejandro Mayorkas were banging the table 3-4 years ago when Nancy Pelosi and her majority in the House of Representatives impeached President Trump twice. And so this is one of these situations where Gallagher is being either praised for being a statesman or he is being criticized for being a sellout. Depends on which side of Twitter you're reading.
I do find it interesting and almost refreshing. I feel like if you're going to say one thing when Democrats tried to impeach Donald Trump, you've got to live up to the standards that you used then. And I think Mike Gallagher did that with this vote.
He is standing on an intellectually honest leg. And, you've been around state capitals, you've covered congressmen, you've covered politicians long enough to know that is oftentimes a rare feat. Now, that is not a condemnation of Wisconsin's other Republican congressmen who all voted to impeach Mayorkas. And Mike Gallagher has pretty good standing. Look, it wasn't but 2 years ago that there were people who were hoping that Mike Gallagher would run for governor here in Wisconsin. He is still a very popular congressman. He's expected to be the one who replaces Ron Johnson in the Senate when Johnson's term is up. But this is one of these things that when you take the horse race politics or you take the football politics, all right, we just got to get the next first down and the next first down and the next first down. Mike Gallagher said something that is unique often. It was both honest in terms of he gave you his honest opinion, and it was honest intellectually. And that's, look, I say this all the time, that being honest with each other is really easy. Hey, man, your wife's cooking sucked. My wife's cooking sucks. That's the easy part. The really hard part is to be honest with yourself. And I think that there are a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of conservatives who took to Twitter who were just mad that their side didn't win. And, in a couple of months, couple of years, they may come to reconsider their stance.
At the current time, though, which voices are the loudest? Critics of Gallagher or those praising him?
I think the critics are loudest, but remember, November is a while away, and he is still a very popular congressman in the Green Bay area, which is where his area is. He does what congressmen do best. He brings home the bacon, and he's also the face of the National Republicans and their opposition to China. And so, look, House Speaker Mike Johnson has said that they will impeach Mayorkas. They will find the vote. Steve Scalise was out for cancer treatment, and maybe you can swing somebody else somewhere else. I think that Mayorkas's days probably are going to be numbered, but I think that Gallagher survives this in the broader sense. And again, look, the people on Twitter who are furious with Mike Gallagher today are going to be furious with CBS on Sunday because they show Taylor Swift too much. If you and I listened to what Twitter said, we wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. I wouldn't have any career as either a writer or a journalist or on the radio or doing these podcasts, because people on Twitter just love to complain. But yeah, I mean, this is one of these ones of we woke up and, it was Mike Gallagher. And so that just, cup of coffee, jump on the keyboard, rah! And in the days since, I think Gallagher's done a pretty good job with an explanation, at least offering an explanation, and that leaves people to ponder their own stance.
Absolutely. That's all the time we have. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Ben Yount, I'm J.D. Davidson. Thanks for listening.
Audible is a great way to gain access to an ever-growing selection of audiobooks. They've got what everyone's listening to: bestsellers, new releases, that story you've been waiting for. Follow the link in our show description to get 30 days of Audible free.